Well, we didn't have the walkout music at the time, but every day started with. I grew up with LPs and albums and the 33s and the vinyl, and my memory of the early days of hip hop was the Sugar Hill Gang and Curtis Blow and all those guys. And you start your day in the car with the radio blasting on your way to the ballpark, listen to the music. By the time you get to the clubhouse, they got it blasted in the clubhouse as well.
Weezy, his music, I just felt like it always hyped me up. The Carters, the mixtape Weezy thing was the best music ever made. He would take people's songs and just blow it out the water.
It was T.I. I still continue to listen to Paper Trail.
A Little Baby, A Little Dirt. If I got those two, I'll be pretty good. But I like to mix in the old school too. I put in a little Tupac, a little Biggie.
There's one that easily jumps. That's Nothing But a G Thing. The Grandy man going up with Nothing But a G Thing. I mean, the Chronic album, one of my all-time favorites. So that was one that, even if I didn't start the season with it, if I'm in a little bit of a lull, hey, DJ, switch it up real quick. I got to get hot again. So that was always a good one.
The whole Dirty Sprite album is my walkout. I had 5 at best. I had 5 different Dirty Sprite songs at one time.
Lil Wayne, Block is Hot, all that stuff back in the day. I always loved to go old school. Biggie, Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
Outkast. They got the little instrumentals. So that was a vibe, man. The crowd got the crowd into it, and it had me ready to go.
T.I. I'm a big T.I. fan. Let's see, Bring 'Em Out was a big one. That was a banger. Anything like his slow stuff, fast stuff, it didn't matter. Like anything T.I. really.
Still tipping. Still tipping.
This makes sense.
Still tipping all day. I always had some Houston music, at least as one of my songs, as a walkout song. So that's how I kept home close to me, no matter where I was at.
Going to old Yankee Stadium, that speaker system is better than new Yankee Stadium. It's 2006. It's the playoffs, and Jeter comes up to I Get Money from 50 Cent. And I was like, and then he drove those 5 for 5 against us. I said, if that ain't what you need to get yourself going, I don't know what it is. I had heard the term, Mr. October, Mr. November, and I hadn't witnessed it until that song came on and he dropped the 5 for 5 on us, and we were 0-1 in the playoffs at that point in time. That was it.
2023 has been one of the most important cultural years that anyone can remember for one specific reason. It marks the 50-year anniversary of the creation of hip-hop. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that hip-hop is the #1 form of cultural expression today in America, and some would argue worldwide. We're here with members of the Players Alliance to talk about how hip-hop has influenced culture in Major League Baseball. It's synonymous with so many different sports. You hear it everywhere, you see it in commercials. But in Major League Baseball, what is the past, the present, and the future of hip-hop? We have some amazing guests here to talk with us. To my right, we have CC Sabathia, Jason Bourgeois, and Edwin Jackson.
Joining me to my left is the legend himself, Eric Davis, young lion right here, Lawrence Butler, Michael Bourn. We are very excited to have this conversation.
All right, so let's start at the beginning of the story. Because I'm sure all of y'all have each individual connections with hip hop, what it's meant to you guys and how it's affected you and what you've gotten from it. But I want to start with ED, because you come into the league in '84. That's just around the time that hip hop is starting to blow up here in America, and people are starting to understand what the music is and what it means. What are some of your earliest connections to hip hop, to the music itself?
Well, it was just starting to formulate with hip hop. Before it was just rap, and then you had R&B and you had soul. So my early years was more R&B. That's where I got a lot of my style and stuff was from R&B. From all the way back to Kool Moe Dee, to when LL them started, to when Ice-T first introduced the gangster rap that led to NWA, and not really knowing where it was gonna go, because it came in as gangster rap is what really turned the culture and turned the hip hop into the iconic stage that it is today. But from that perspective, me as a young black player, I was just trying to find my niche into how I was able to utilize those particular things. First and foremost, we didn't have walk-up music. The crowd was the walk-up music. And if they cheered for you, you was doing good. If they booed you, you was horse. So you was trying to get that crowd, you know what I'm saying? But R&B with Teddy Pendergrass and Luther and the OJs and all those guys is where I really started to find my groove. And then once they started to come, then it was just a matter of the West Coast. That's what we did on the West Coast. And then you had like E40 and Too Short and them, and Hammer was one of my first partners. So seeing how that moved itself into the 90s to where it started to really express itself as that culture.
CC, you played in New York. Obviously, that's the birthplace of hip hop. How did those two things intersect during your playing career, rap music and culture, and baseball?
Oh, I mean, I think it intersected the very first night. I mean, my very first night I signed in New York, I had this big press conference, and, you know, Hov and OG is sitting at the press conference. Like, that was my introduction to New York City, was them, you know, kind of bringing me out as a Yankee, going to 40-40 Club that night, and that's just kind of how our relationship started. Very first night in New York, but, you know, me being a West Coast guy growing up, you know, in California, I was always like, you know, Mac Dre, E40. You know, I gravitated to bigger guys because I was always a bigger guy. So like Heavy D and Biggie were like my favorite rappers. So getting a chance to come to New York and really express all of that and explore all of that was pretty cool. And the way that Jay and Ty and Emery and all those guys kind of took me in.
For me, hip hop got me through a lot of situations. Whether it's listening to lyrics, it could be a song that explain how I feel. Like I was in Tampa Bay in 2008, and I came out to to your boy. I came out to Kanye, you know. Wait till I get my money right. That's how I felt.
Trying to trick me.
Can't tell me nothing. I ain't want to start it like that. I ain't want to start it like that.
I came out to your boy.
I ain't want to start it like that. But I ain't want to start it, but that's just how I felt. Cause I couldn't wait till I get my money right. And not that they couldn't tell me nothing, but in the period was in my career, I was like, that's how I felt. This song, it resonated with me. And I was like, man, when I get my money right, they can't tell me nothing, but I won't act like that. But I'm like, man, I'm watching everybody around me and they got bread and I don't have a lot yet. So I'm like, I can't wait till I get my money right.
So what you're saying is basically and that's interesting, right? And that's kind of like what we're talking about. That song, the message and the music, even though you didn't have the exact same feeling that Ye did at that time, you doing your job out there, coming out, making a debut, putting yourself out there, you can understand the feeling that he was feeling when he was recording that.
Right, and that's what I say, it translates to a lot of different songs, man. And at a point in my career, I mean, I've been on so many teams, I've been on 14 teams, it was hard for me to always pick songs, but I just kind of picked them to how I felt. Like I was in the Bay, and I know me naturally, I went from Georgia, I want to come out to something from the South, but I was like, listen, I'm in Oakland. Oakland got their own style of music. It's only right that I come out to an Oakland song that I can look around the crowd and I got the fan base in it. You know, I came out to Boy, it was P-Lo, Be Legit, and E40. But I just wanted to see something that I can get the crowd involvement in. I mean, when you pitching at home, you want everybody to be what you want, the synergy. I want my teammates to be vibing, and I want the stands to be vibing because we about to turn up together. They gonna be screaming when I get it out, and they gonna be booing the other team. So I want them to be involved in the game and kind of be where I am on the field. I want that energy to transcend through the whole stadium. So I kind of pick my come out songs accordingly, depending on where I'm playing at.
Yeah, that makes sense because that was the reason why I picked Big Papa, because I wanted something like New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something iconic, because, you know, Derek had his song, Mo had his Metallica. You know what I mean? Like, so I wanted something that, like, when people heard that song, automatically think of me. And I remember the whole first half of 2009, I'm searching for a song to come out to, just got to New York and blah, blah, blah. And I had a terrible first half. Me and my wife went on vacation, and Big Papa, it played like 10 times. Yeah. On that vacation, I was like, that's my song.
It gravitated.
You know what I mean? Like, it kind of picked me, and then we played it, and I was like, blast that shit. And I didn't walk out the dugout until they started playing the music. You know what I'm saying? So y'all know when y'all hear that shit, I'm coming.
Yeah.
So like, I definitely picked that song because of where I was at.
Yeah.
Jason, you from my neck of the woods, down there near Boston, Texas. Like, what about you? Like, what were some of the earliest influences or recollections that you have of hip hop influencing you?
Well, we get to double down today because my guy Mike Bourn is from Houston too.
Okay.
So for me, it was UGK. UGK for life.
That's what I'm talking about. Shout out Bun B.
Bun B.
Rest in
Pimp
peace,
C. You know, my mom took me to the store, I think when I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I can't believe she let me do this, but she let me purchase Super Tight.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean? Hey, look.
She released you to the streets.
It was right next to cocktails too. So
like she,
you know what I mean? Like, too short. And she's like, "Don't you get that one? You gonna get this one, the big one." So, you know, I took that thing home, man. They made such a huge influence, and still to this day, Bun B is such a major factor when it comes to the community in Houston.
Solid, brother.
Trill Burgers, of course. But he's just a hip-hop head. He's one of the greatest, I feel like, of all time. Yes, I'm biased, you know what I mean? Just like I am with my sports teams when it comes to Houston. But this guy's a staple, and he was one of those guys that I looked, you know, up to early. And, you know what, man, this guy, he got it figured out. Now, I know the lyrics might be one thing, but he's going to motivate you in other ways. My walkout song, Pushin'. You know, they took that sample of Otis Redding, keep on pushing. I was a guy that was steady grinding in the minor leagues for a long time. So, you know what, let me come out to this. I started going off. Yeah, all I need to do is just hear that song. It triggered me to keep going. And it was my walkout song for about 10 to 12 years, maybe.
Ours was more different because that really, and when the gangster rap like really hit, it started the gang culture to activate.
That's true.
So as a young black player, you had to differentiate on which side that you was gonna play. Why? Because I had cousins that was 6-0s, I had cousins that was Bloods. So I'm in the middle, I had a red and a blue car, you know what I'm saying? So I drive this one over here, and I drive this one over here. Oh, absolutely, so you had to show that love and stuff, but as you started to go, Snoop and them, when they got with Dr. Dre, and by the time I started coming out to something, I came out to California Love. Okay. And it showed everywhere I went what was the California Love and stuff, because like you said, everybody would always be talking about what was popping. So just the mindset of trying, do I indulge or do I move this way or how to move, like baseball hadn't accepted it yet. The world hadn't accepted it yet, you know, with the cussing and what Luke and them talking about America and like that. There was a lot of stuff that was going on. So you had to be careful about what you indulged yourself in, because back then you didn't get second chances to fuck up as a young black player. You was out of here. So you had to say, well, no, not yet. Now it's time that we could start doing things and bump it in the clubhouse and everybody accepted it. But it would have been better had the older guys didn't grow up with rap and stuff like that. So like I said, I heard Marvin Gaye and the Spinners and shit in the clubhouse and on the back of the plane and stuff like that. So yeah, also that whole ensemble of how it translated into me was with time and then learning what to do, because Cali was different than any other place on Red and Blue, and whose song was just, it was a long time before rappers wouldn't even come to Cali. Right. Because of the gang culture and what the culture meant as far as rap and things of that nature.
And that's because your man Hammer was out there terrorizing them. I'm saying, because your man Hammer but Hammer is underrated. Hammer was out there terrorizing. See, you don't know nothing about that. I'm gonna come to you right now, little but Hammer, bro, don't let them shiny pants fool you. Hammer was out there terrorizing them. Lawrence, I want to talk to you real quick. You are you're the young buck on the panel. Hip hop has changed a lot. It's changed a lot. Edie was just talking about the fact that a lot of the street politics started to become involved in hip hop around the time that he watched it grow. Now it seems like the street politics in hip hop, it's just ubiquitous to the sound of the music. It's everywhere in it. It's everywhere. For you, how do you approach like what it is that you listen to? Because a lot of stuff I hear as an old head, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just getting to the point to where I'm like, these kids is crazy. I'm just at that point in my life. How do you? I'm just getting there. I heard a record a couple of weeks ago. I was like, nah, man, nah. So for you, what are your experiences with the music? What is it that you listen to? Do you feel people when they talk about like how the streets are maybe overrepresented in the music today, or are we just being old?
I mean, like you said, I mean, hip hop done changed a lot. You got my generation, we knew we young, so we gonna have our own little wave of music. It's gonna be different from y'all's. So you got new sounds, new technology, ways to make your voice sound different, like all types of new stuff. But I mean, it's really like, I really like to listen to what I can relate to. Like, rappers still these days still make music that you can kind of relate to. You know, like some of my favorite artists, Baby, of course, because he from where I'm from. So, love Baby, No Cap, like Young Thug and Future are like probably the biggest two influencers in the whole Atlanta rap game. And like, for them, like they like Hall of Fame in Atlanta. Like you see Future or Thug go anywhere, no matter anywhere in Atlanta, they good. So, I mean, them two is really who I grew up off of. It's another like local little rap group. They was kind of like our age when we was like coming up middle school, high school, like Rich Kids. That's who like, cause in Atlanta, we really listening to the people from Atlanta. We listen to a lot of underground artists that ain't nobody heard before, but later on, they gonna become mainstream. Like we been knew about the Gunners, the Young Thugs, the Lil Babies, like Gucci. Like I always listened to Gucci as a little kid. He one of my favorite artists, like Jeezy, like all them. So, but I mean, it's just a new way. The kids younger and, you know, from where they from, that's what is influenced around them is streets. Like that's who rich, that's who got all the cars, that's who having emotion is the robbers, trappers, scammers. So when they rapping, that's all they really know is street.
So you feel like it's authentic to their experience and not just something.
It ain't even no like it's not even, from majority of them it ain't rap cap because it's like that's all they know. They don't know nothing else. They dropping out of school, so it's like all they seeing is Baby them getting rich off of rapping and doing what they doing, so they like, that's the only way out for me too. So
let me
that's
ask,
really.
Because Lawrence, you mentioned, Edie and Lawrence both mentioned the clubhouse. And I'm interested to know, when did the clubhouse change in regards to the soundtrack of the clubhouse? When did you notice that hip hop music, because now you go into the clubhouse now, if they're playing music, 85% of the time.
I ain't gonna lie, in spring training, this past spring training was my first big league spring training. Jesus Aguilar, as soon as I walk in the clubhouse, he tell me I'm on aux every day.
But I gave it right to Judge. Just like how you walked in the first day we walked in spring training, Judge, you the DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit ain't for my ears no more. You know what I mean? And that's what I kind of came to realize where, like,
But
I listen to what I listen to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it had to come from you.
Yeah. Oh no, it had to come from me. Yeah. But you know, it changed. I think it changed in like 2010s.
Right.
Up until that point. But yeah, I mean,
hip-hop started
even
becoming
to
more
ED's
accepted.
point, like earlier in my career, like they would associate me listening to rap music with me like being in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people that I was connected to from my hometown, I wouldn't even bring around because of how they would perceive it to be with
That's
me.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So I
true.
couldn't even like bring my friends around the clubhouse because it's like, oh, you listen to rap music, you got, you know what I'm saying? Like, which I mean, when you grow up in that life, in that situation, you got one foot in, you got, like he said, it is what it is.
Like it's partners I can't even like tell happy birthday no more because like, you know, social media so bad. It's like he posting all types of crazy stuff on his Instagram. I tell him happy birthday, they click on Instagram. They like, oh, you must be doing the same thing he doing just because this your friend.
Then you got some teams. I was about to say, then you got some teams. They do whoever pitching that day. Starters sometimes the starters get the choice because it's really their day. So it really kind of depends on the team. You know, baseball is interesting. I grew up playing, watching the sport. My father was a baseball player my entire life, and I remember one day, like early to mid '90s, my dad brings me into the living room, and he was like, "Look at this boy," and it was Ken Griffey Jr. And Griffey was during batting practice. He had his hat on backwards, and I remember what a gigantic deal that was. That he had flipped his hat, and he was put his hat on backwards while he was hitting his BP, and it didn't matter black or white or whatever. That was like something that the game had to come to terms with. That he was young, he looked at things differently, he was doing it his own way, and to me that's interesting because as I hear you guys talk about your experiences, it's clear what a big deal hip hop is to all of you. And what a big deal it was throughout you guys' playing careers. You talked about getting energy from the song that you play. You talked about how you meticulously poured over which song that you would use. Sometimes when you're watching Major League Baseball, it doesn't seem like hip hop has that much resonance with inside of the culture of Major League Baseball. Why is that? Why is it hard to see that hip hop means as much to baseball as it does? It obviously does.
It's hard to see us in the game. It's only 6% of us. You know what I'm saying?
And
so
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And I feel like too, like most of the people that's doing hip hop is people like us. And if they don't see no people like us on the field, they're not gonna come to the game. So it's like, you ain't like, they like what I'm out here for. Like, I'm out here just watching these random folks I don't even know, I can't relate to.
If you think about the entertainment we have for all our celebratorial events and stuff like the All-Star Game and the World Series, we don't really get those type of people to really come in and be a part of what the festivities are. And they don't really see blacks on the field. They see blacks, but they ain't us. So as they do interviews and they hear them talk, they be like, oh, them dudes from the islands and stuff like that. So they aren't really associated with that over here. So it's always going to be difficult when you don't see us on the field. If it was all black out there, you see Snoop them come to the game because they know certain people. Guys, they know. But just as a whole, they don't see it, number one. Number two, if you're talking about marketing in Cincinnati, who are your marketing people? Older white people. Our town is that type of way. So who you gonna get to be a part of the festivities? Now you ain't got but one black dude on the field at Hunter Green. So who do you bring to associate with that?
You know who does a good job though, as far as like culturally, is Atlanta, the Braves. Like they bring Outkast in. Like they have a bobblehead. Like they do different jerseys. Atlanta is, I think, as far as baseball goes, they figured it out with the culture as far as where they put the stadium, how to bring their fans to them, and how to like leverage their hip hop with their fans in baseball. I think they do the best job out of any organization.
Do y'all feel as if we can see now in 2023, 50 years, we can say there were moments when the NBA embraced hip hop. There were moments when the NFL embraced hip hop. Have we seen, is there something that y'all can do, we can do to have MLB embrace hip hop and make it more acceptable?
You know the Uzi joint that got popping last year?
Yeah.
When they played that at Phillies games,
the
whole crowd went up and everybody's doing the dance.
The Steelers games, when Wiz and the black and yellow was popping, like the towels. But it's crazy because y'all mentioned, the Braves bobblehead, and they had a whole E40 night in the Bay. And with the E40 bobblehead, and that was the time, it was either last year or the year before, but that was the time when because Outkast in Atlanta. But when I saw an E40 bobblehead, an E40 I was like, yo, something is changing. I want to go back to that original joint.
They just did like the Falcons Saints game I went to last Sunday. They did the whole 50-year anniversary for all the Atlanta rappers. Everyone came out. The whole
they had T.I. They
had Ludacris coming down from the ceiling.
Do you guys want to see, and I'll come to you, Edwin, do you guys want to see a future where there's more synergy?
I mean, why not? I mean, you think about this. Everybody that's coming to the games, whether you're black or white, it's a lot of people coming out to hip-hop music. Of course. The scene didn't change. Even the white players, they coming in and they know the words more than some of us to the songs. It's like, damn, he know the words, I'm still trying to figure them. So it's there. The attention just not brought there by MLB, and I think half of that problem is getting more black players on the field to be pro bringing people out. I mean, you hearing references in songs. You see people come to the games. I mean, I'd have been Jeezy in the locker room. I'd have seen Wayne come to the locker room. So they there, but Quavo, they just got to be like Atlanta. The thing about Atlanta to make Atlanta different is everybody in Atlanta, any sport team that got an A associated to their name with Atlanta, they rap about it, they with it, they ready to brag on them. They just wait for them to win. They ready for them to win so they can make a song about it. I mean, you go back from when 2 Chainz was Titty Boy, he was still rapping, you know what I'm saying?
But if you circle that wagon and you put that camera on them, there's a lot of brothers in them stands down there in Atlanta. So that's what fuels them to be able to know what their culture is in the city. So what you said is 100% correct. If you view across a lot of them other stadiums, you got to look to find us. Yeah. So they don't feel like they have to cater to that.
ED, they got games on in the studios.
Absolutely.
While they rapping, they sitting here looking at the games on the TV in the studios.
2 Chainz got his studio over there by like off Midtown in Atlanta, and like every time I go in there, game on, Braves on, like some on, Hawks on,
DJ Drummer too.
The interest is there.
Yeah.
You're saying, I guess
And it's there because the teams have engaged them. The team has engaged them, so they're fans. You know,
everybody knows
Freddie
Freddie. Everybody knows.
And it's all synergy. Of course, you're gonna be a fan of it.
Right.
So then you're gonna have it on, and you're gonna be invested in it.
100.
I was at a game with my friend Tommy some years ago. Juan Pierre came up to bat. We was in LA, and they dropped. They used to run bass like Juan Pierre. And my man Tommy, he white. He goes, Jay-Z played baseball? And I was like, nah, man. Nah, he talking about something else.
It's crazy you say that because, like you say, rap a lot. Jay Prince, I had a conversation. He's a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
He came up playing baseball, but people don't know it because we don't. It's not out there enough to know. Like he said, in all the other stadiums, you can't see because it's not us on. CC said it best. You know what I mean? We get more players out there. I think we can bridge that gap.
And I keep saying Atlanta, but like in the stadium, they have the barbecue. They got Slutty Vegan.
Everything.
They got the barbecue that we like. They cater into like what we want to be having in the park. So that's why they show up to the game.
Right. And the whole,
you know what I'm saying? Like
Atlanta's also a very, very black city.
The whole stadium, the whole stadium is built like that. Like it's basically outside the Battery is basically a town, and it's like clubs out there, it's bars, hotels, restaurants. Like people go there when the Braves not playing. And
This is what we're gonna party. This is what we're gonna do. Let's say this was the board of the future of hip hop in baseball, in Major League Baseball. What are some of the things that you guys would do to foster the next 50 years, the relationship between hip hop and Major League Baseball, to make it strong for the next 50 years? What are some of the things that you guys would do? You guys have been in dugouts, you guys have played the game. What are some of the ideas that you guys would have to make that culture a bigger part of baseball?
You know that stupid ass song they play, dun dun dun, or you know, like the trumpet songs that they play. It would be all hip hop.
Ballpark music.
Just like when you're watching a basketball game, it's like listening to a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? And it's always specific to that city. When I listen to Warriors games, it's so many Mac Dre beats come on, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes me want to watch the game. So I feel like if we start infusing hip hop just in the times when people like at elevator music, then I feel like it'll be more accepted as far as
it could be an instrumental.
And you can get them, and you can just get like if a rapper do come to the game, like get them more involved. Cause like the Pistons, they do like something called like the ice cam. So like anybody that's there that got on some chains, majority of the time it's gonna be a rapper. They got them on the big screen, so now everybody's seeing them. They at the game. It's gonna make more people come to the game because they see this rapper at the game. That's just how I feel like you can do
relationships too. They don't have the relationships a lot. I think, like you say, Atlanta is a special team, but I guarantee you within that office of Atlanta, there's a lot of blacks making that happen. They got the relationships to the artists, or reaching out to this PR team to get this artist, whereas a lot of organizations, I don't think, have that mix-up in the office.
100%.
Yeah. So and that's where it's starting from, because the ideas is, I'm pretty sure it's coming from somebody black, the ideas to get these
If you
people
look
in
at
here.
the Braves, and we're going to use the Braves because they're like the poster boy, they always having, and every one of the black alumni or players is always involved. All the time, they get them tickets, they invite them to this, they do. Other teams don't do that, so they don't really have blacks to be ingratiated in what they do because of who's doing the marketing. That's why I brought it back to the marketing. Who's saying we need to do this or we need to do that? So the more that we can get them to now to have a CC Sabathia day, or he having a day and he's having a day outside of Jackie Robinson Day, then you'll start to see more, or we have to mandate more from MLB outside of a week before Jackie Robinson Day and a week after Jackie Robinson Day. See, he's more than that. It should be a Frank Robinson Day. It should be a Willie Mays Day. So the more days you have, the more we get a chance to celebrate all of our cultures and the things that we need to celebrate. Because now, if you have a day for him, they gonna come. Black people gonna come because everybody know him. So the more you do that, the more we get to see. Now we're putting our stamp on everybody else to make them come out and be a part of what we want to do.
And what I'm really hearing, Van, if I'm hearing it correctly, is that there has to be an embracement of the people, because that's where the hip hop culture lives, is with the people. And if they can embrace the people that are, hip hop comes with it.
And I want to big up y'all real quick, seriously, in a real way. That's why what you guys are doing with the Players Alliance is specifically important. As far as I'm concerned, country boy from South Louisiana, Sugarcane League, used to go out there and watch everybody play since I was a little boy. Baseball is, to me, synonymous with the black experience here in America. And to watch over the last decades sort of the connection between black Americans and baseball erode is something that I don't think people understand what a unforeseen sort of change of direction that is. If you'd have told my dad or my granddad, rest in peace, that it was gonna be one day where young black boys weren't gonna be playing baseball, it would have scared the hell out of them. So what you guys are doing, your presence, everything that you're doing, how you're giving back is so important. And I think that kind of is what starts, not just for hip hop, but for us to have a lot of stake in this game that we help create, the record books that we help write. So I want to throw a shout out to you guys and make sure you know how important what it is that you're doing. We're going to end this real quick so I can go back and get Andre Dawson autograph.
I need to ask if anybody has pivotal moments that connected hip hop to the game. And I'm going to throw it to CeCe because CeCe was talking the other day and he mentioned the old Yankee Stadium and the sound system in center field. And when a particular player's music came on, there are moments in baseball that you look around and say, this is happening and this is hip hop. Tell me a little bit about the moment.
It was like, I don't know if y'all remember old Yankee Stadium, they just had the speaker system like how they have in Dodger Stadium, where it was just all bass. And I remember this was before I was with the Indians. This was before me and Derek even knew each other. I couldn't stand that motherfucker. And he'd come up to the plate, but every time he came to the plate in the Bronx, it was I Get Money. And the beat, like it had the whole stadium shaking. You know, it's like I would be on the mound like I'm definitely giving up a hit or a double or something dope is about to happen right now at my expense. You know what I'm saying? All because this fucking song just played. So like, you know what I mean? Like just getting that feeling, and that's what I wanted people to feel when they heard my walkout song. Like, oh, you hear this song, hear this come, it's about to be a heavyweight fight for 9 innings. You know what I'm saying? So like every time you heard Derek come up to that song, it's like you know something dope is about to happen at your expense.
I had a moment like that, like, cause you know, in Oakland we don't really get no fans no more. So like, energy low all the time. Sometimes you don't even feel like you're in the big leagues. Like it's just no fans, it's dead, it's cold. So like, I have my little 2 walk-up songs. My 3rd walk-up song, I had put Sexy Red on. And I swear to God, every time I went on the bat for that 3rd at bat, the whole stadium was lit off of Sexy Red. Like, that'll be the littest at bat of the whole night. Sexy Ski, come on, they play Ski.
It could be the other one, bro. I was wondering, it could be the other one. Like, if it's the other one, what do we want out of this at bat? Obviously, hip hop has a very distinct style. That style sometimes doesn't reflect baseball. Y'all be wearing tights out there. You mean? How do you hip hop a Major League Baseball uniform? How do you reflect what's going on with the trends of the culture with what you're wearing on the field?
So to me, it's different because back in the 80s and 90s, they kind of wore it tight a little bit, kind of how they wear it now. But like when we came along, the pants went over the shoes. Everybody had the pants over the shoes. All of us, that was our style. If you didn't have your pants over your shoes, you wasn't cool. Like nobody wore their pants. But then it trended back, just like, you know, because we wore our baggy clothes off the field every day, because that's what the rappers wore. Everything was, especially the black baseball players. But the crazy part about it is they follow our trend. They follow what we doing. You know, like they know what we doing. So I remember when I was in college, I came out to a Lil Wayne song, Jump Jiggy Jump, off of Lights Out. I was the only black player on my team. Every catcher I played against, everywhere I went, they asked me, say, man, what Lil Wayne song is that, man? What Lil Wayne song? Every time. I was a big Lil Wayne fan. But I'm just saying it drives the culture. Even when I was in college, I wore my pants baggy like that. But once you get to the big leagues and you wear it like that, they follow that trend. You know what I mean? That was the trend then. Now they're wearing it back tighter. You know what I'm saying? They wearing it back tight. I just feel like that's a revolving circle.
Purple jeans to Jabos. We had Jabos, they got the purple jeans now. That's how it translates to
When I first came up, it was tight uniform still, so like I was trying to find a way to differentiate myself from everybody. So I started wearing my hat to the side like this. Way to the side like this. Even for like I was way over it, and they hated that. Like literally hated it. I was talking to somebody the other day, it was like, yeah, when you was young, you were bad, but you used to wear your hat over to the side like this. You know, I was like, you know why? To irk like you. That's why I wore it like that, because I couldn't express myself and be who I wanted to be. So if you look at me as my career went on, I'm wearing J's. My uniform is the biggest that you can get. I had the biggest uniform in the league, probably me and Prince. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, I wanted kids to look at me and be like they could see themselves in me. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think
ours was a
our
lot
style always
different
reflected
though,
the streets.
because in the 70s and even when I came in the 80s, every team had rules that was enforceable, where we couldn't wear our hair past our ears and we couldn't have no facial hair. You couldn't wear, you had to show more red. We didn't even have stirrups. You just had to wear, your socks had to come down to here. For 4 years, we wore all black spikes because like they didn't want to see no white on the shoes. And so we couldn't get shoe contracts. And I ended up actually getting ready to sue Marge over me signing a deal with Nike. That's why we was able to go from black to red, because I was wearing the high tops then. And that changed the whole monotony behind how guys was wearing their pants in the uniform.
Ed, let me ask you something. Do you feel like hip hop or trends inside of black culture had any effect on the changing of those rules? Because obviously maybe, you know, they went away by the time these brothers got into the league, they weren't there. Do you feel like...
No, it was more that what was happening outside of baseball, and baseball was trying to catch up.
Okay, but still...
Because you started to see the Fab Five wore the big baggy pants, and they wore the black socks.
But Ed, that's still hip hop though, because those guys are wearing that because...
Right, because they could alter that. They did that in college. They could alter that. So that started to change for the guys who started to come, had more voice because they were seeing it, and it wasn't really derogatory, but it was an individual statement. So now he was able to wear his pants a certain way. We was able to get the mustache and the goatee. If you look at the Yankees now, you ain't gonna see nobody with long hair. In this hip hop culture in New York where it started. Today. Because of what Mr. Steinbrenner wanted it, and they're going to bonds with that no matter what. So I'm saying that to say a lot more sports had more impact on what baseball was being allowed to do, more so than just the players.
I gotta ask about the grill, because Edwin Jack was telling me about the first baseball player he saw wore a grill, and how that made him feel. And I want to say it was Gary Sheffield.
Gary Sheffield, the first one I remember. I mean, like when I had a grill, when I got drafted, my dad made me throw it away. I'm like, damn, I done worked bagging these groceries to get this money. With the job that I did working, now I got to throw my grill away because it was always portrayed as being gangster. They always looked at it as you trying to, it's a thuggish look, and you don't want to be looking like a thug, but I looked at it as a part of fashion. I mean, obviously the streets, back in the days, if you had a grill, it probably did portray something, like you was probably about that life. But as you get older, the grill was a trend. So it was a fashion, it was fashionable. So I had it on a fashion statement. And Gary Sheffield had it. Gary Sheffield maybe had it for a real reason. He had permanence. So he had a real grill in a Florida boy. And if you know about Florida boys and grills, it's like Texas and grills, boy, they go hand in hand. But that was the inspiration. Like Gary Sheffield had a grill. I never wore it in baseball. Half of the people I wore it that night probably never even knew I owned a grill, because I knew how to separate on-field baseball life from off-the-field baseball life, and I did a great job of that throughout my career, being able to separate the two and kind of live a double life. But I mean, it's a fashion statement. I mean, you have a grill, it don't change who you is as a person. It don't make you bigger, don't make you better. It's a fashion. It's like having earrings. It's like, hey man, you complain about me having earrings, but I mean, just taking the music, I always took the music as like, listen here, I listen to what I like to listen to. They rapping about trapping and being on the streets. I'm trapping on the field. The field is my hustle, that's my trap, that's my grind. They got to do this, and this is my in between the line. When I'm on a hill, that's my trapping. This is my trap. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I listen to music. And
Jason, I want to get you in there.
Okay.
The South Texas, very distinct style and culture. Very distinct style and culture. How did you reflect where you're from? How do you express that when you were playing?
Well, for me, it was the energy. You know what I mean? It was the chip on my shoulder. It was the quiet aggression. I feel like a lot of people where I'm from, you know what I mean, we kind of let the game do the talking. You know, we're not big talkers, you know, in Houston. And, you know, normally in our culture, we just go out and kind of stay humble a little bit, but yet have this cockiness. So I couldn't say that I dressed a certain way just because I was from Houston, maybe off the field. I was starching up my pants a little bit.
There you go.
You know what I mean? 18, 19 years old.
I'm talking about.
You know what I mean?
Get
But
the big crease
you know,
in it.
I
The
had
stay
to
flow.
have a hard crease. You know what I mean? Stay flow.
Stay
You know what I mean?
Stay flow. That's
So
a
I
stay
traveled
flow
with
right there. Man, I used to take my joints
the
out,
gold
put a
top.
little layer
Yes,
in the
sir.
bathtub,
Oh,
and
yes,
put
sir.
them in there and
Soak 'em
get
up.
those.
Soak 'em up, baby. Yeah, that edge had to cut you. It had to,
Yeah, like
you
the
know what
whole
I mean?
joint,
Like, it had to be
yep.
sharp.
That was live back
So I
then.
mean, it wasn't anything on field, but off field, I always, carried Houston on my back. You know, to chip off Edwin, talk about grills. A team like Houston, the Astros, they embrace Paul Wall. He has World Series grills for the Cats now.
Word up.
So now you really involved in the culture of Houston right there when you do something like that. So that's just an example.
Travis Scott is
Yes,
big
sir.
in
That's
there.
true. Yeah, Houston do a good job with
Yeah,
hip-hop.
yeah.
Well, once again, you guys have been a part of the past, the present, and with the Players Alliance, you guys are a part of the future of Major League Baseball and the culture. And we just hope to keep growing. And we hope 50 years of expansion of black culture and hip hop culture and baseball, and 50 years of brothers like yourselves. The next 50 years having power and influence in the game and using it to change lives all over the world. So once again, I commend you guys for what you're doing for the Players Alliance. Thank you for the sit down. Thank you for the talk.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Happy birthday to hip hop. Hopefully, I don't stop listening to you in the next 3 years. I'm just joking. Happy birthday to hip hop. Shout out to the Players Alliance. It's been a beautiful weekend with some really influential and important men. And I wish the best for them. And I wish the best for hip hop. I want to challenge hip hop to continue to grow and evolve and think about what you're putting out there and who is listening to the music. With love and affection, just think about what we're doing every time we do it with intentionality. Van Lathan, thank you guys all for sitting down and talking with us.
Shout out to Robert Davis. He the king of the side.
The first album, that's a tough question.
Well, if we talking Lil Baby, the first time it was Freestyle.
I wanted the Chronic album, but I knew I couldn't bring that one home. So I was like, let me get this one. That's why the Crisscross was my first album.
Reggae album by Anthony B.
Every Weezy album that came out, I was up waiting for it. 12 a.m. that night, I was listening to it before I go to bed. I'm still like that to this day,
DJ Screw, June 27th.
Ambition by Wale.
Playing basketball with Curtis Blow and, like you said, Houdini. Yeah, it was a good time.
Ooh, I'm finna tell on myself, but like most people ain't from Florida, so y'all might not know it. Jam Pony Express.
Bone Thugs. Back in the day, what's the name of that album? First of the Month, all that. That was the first one that I got. And my mom was hot. She was hot, bro. She didn't see the advisory sticker on there and all that. Man, I came home smashed. I thought I was gonna be a thug. I was ready.